Hey, Saigon, Sam again, September 10th, 2009. Now, I want to do two parts here on food. First of all, what kind of food is good to eat, what's affordable, where you can get it. First of all, as a general warning, I would suggest, unless you really know what you're doing, I wouldn't eat at any of the restaurants here. Even if the sanitation standards are good, there are sourcing problems where it's not so much a viral or bacterial threat because you can cook and get rid of that issue, but the pesticide use is, to me, it's a complete black box. I don't know what's going on there. There's a whole lot of really questionable handling and packaging and transport practices. So, while the society is sorting out those issues, I would recommend basically just dealing with suppliers that you know very, very well. And I'm going to discuss a few of those in a little bit. One of the places that I will eat the restaurant food is at the Sheraton Hotel and the Caravelle Hotel, which are some of the nicest hotels here in Ho Chi Minh. They really do seem, I've talked actually to their chefs in both cases, and they really do seem to know what they're doing, even as far as sourcing is concerned. But even at that, I'll only do it once a month to minimize the risk. The Sofitel I've heard is also good, and the Intercontinental Hotel, which hasn't opened yet, and theoretically should in October or November this year, probably will also be good, but of course I haven't tried it yet. So as far as day-to-day groceries are concerned, one of the things that I like here is that there are some fantastic tropical fruits and vegetables which are available. Now again, most of them are subject to completely unknown pesticide practices, growth practices, transportation practices. So I tend to avoid most stuff that I can't thoroughly clean easily. And one perfect example of a very healthy food, you got your potassium, vitamin K, oleic acid. It's a great energy source, low glycemic, is bơ, which is Vietnamese for avocado. And basically the great thing about these is they sell for about $2 a kilo, and you just put a little bit of soap on them, and you wash the outside, and you're going to get most of the weird residues off. And yes, granted, if they're raised with a lot of pesticide, then there's going to be some residue in the fruit itself, but I think that's probably not so much of a significant issue. And then you can simply cut them open and eat them. Fantastic. Now, if you like imported foods, if you're like me, and once in a while, you've got to have your Western junk food, which is probably worse than pesticide-tainted vegetables. You can purchase them here at an exorbitant price. Here, for instance, is some Planters peanuts, no doubt soaked with pesticide and loaded with aflatoxin, which causes liver cancer. But hey, they've got p-coumaric acid and CoQ10, right? So it's not all bad. These cost about almost $4 for this bottle, which happens to be 1 pound, which isn't so bad. Although I've seen mixed nuts for like $8 in the little, packages. And frankly, it's good that imported junk food is really expensive because, after all, do you really want to eat all that crap anyway? Another company that's doing business here, and I can tell you how to find them, is Eden Organic. This is their spaghetti sauce with organic extra virgin olive oil. This stuff tastes absolutely fabulous. It's about $6 for 25 ounces, which is certainly not cheap, but it is organic. I believe they're out of Canada, yes. And the taste is fantastic. And you can actually have this delivered to your door without even going to the store. This is just one of many Eden products. They make a whole bunch of various organic foods, which are canned and jarred and whatnot. This is an interesting company, Emborg. You'll see Emborg here and there. They make cheeses, and they've got these are Brussels sprouts. They also have mixed vegetables. These are not organic, but at least they come from Belgium, and they're produced in Belgium, packaged in Belgium anyway, which probably means that there is some kind of level of sane control over the kinds of practices that are used to produce these vegetables. I don't rely on them as my primary food source because, let's face it, they're imported and not all that cheap. This 450 gram packet will run you about 28,000 dong, which is about $1.80. Oh, okay, that's pretty cheap for 450 grams of any food. But I try to eat local when I can. It just makes more sense economically and environmentally. But if you have to have your imported European vegetables, they're here. Oh, and by the way, as far as a lot of people ask about like beef and chicken and all that, you can get imported U.S. and Australian beef. The quality doesn't seem to be that great because probably because of refrigeration and packaging issues. I suspect, and I don't know, but I suspect that they come in as huge slabs and they're processed here locally. It probably doesn't introduce that much toxic material. You know, you can rinse them off a little bit before you cook them. And of course, you should cook them thoroughly. But the net taste is not that great after all of that processing, probably because they've been allowed to thaw out or whatever. The other issue is you don't really know if it is Australian or American beef. I mean, what are you going to do? DNA test it, right? So I basically don't eat really any meat here at all. You know, on the rare occasion when I'll eat meat, I'll buy it imported from a store that I'll tell you about in a bit. But generally, I try to rely on nuts, vegetables, and actually that's about it. Nuts, vegetables, and beans for my nutrition. Plus a little bit of fish, you know, for some protein, selenium, and omega-3. Now, speaking of fish, we have Sofitel sardines. Sofitel is a French company, and they're operating in this case out of Morocco, which is kind of dubious, except for the fact that Morocco is not particularly industrialized, and sardines are pretty famous for containing a lot of nutrition and very little mercury, because sardines, compared to say tuna, are very young fish when they're caught, and so the tissues are not necessarily full of a lot of the pollutants you're going to find, you know, in mackerel and tuna and other fish. I would not recommend eating fish here for the butcher shop, just as I would not recommend purchasing meat, even if it says it's from the USA. Here's something that will keep you alive. Definitely not the healthiest food on earth, but it is rich in iron and some other nutrients, and it's got a decent amount of energy in it. This is Legumor brand lentils, and you can get this from a shop I'm going to tell you about. This is a kilo. Again, not cheap. It's about $6 a kilo, but you know, if you want safe food, you're going to pay for it. All right, this is a kilo of slivered almonds. This actually comes from France. You know, I wish I could get these locally, but for whatever climatic or geographic reason, the only nuts that really seem to grow here are cashews. If you love cashews, you know, that's a great thing. They're all over the place here, although believe it or not, they're not that cheap. They're almost the same price as in the U.S. So, you know, you have to kind of eat them in moderation. In fact, there's a YouTube video you can look up, Dandy Pack, D-A-N space the letter D space P-A-K, Dandy Pack brand cashews, which, as far as I can tell, are very hygienically, insanely raised and handled, and allegedly, which I believe, they're organic. In fact, I bought them here and I eat them here, and I've been very satisfied with them. So that's another reasonably cheap source of sustainable energy that's, I think, quite safe. They have a particular type called Dandy Pack Gold, and Dandy Pack Gold has no oil, just a little bit of salt. So I put it in water to get the salt off. I hate the stuff, but you know, other than that, it's quite delicious.